Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, Disney Assemble fans, we are getting ready now to jump into this year's Disney Assembled Spook-tacular Tournament of Disney Rivals. I say this year's. We've never done this before,
and
right?
We probably won't do it again.
This is our first one. So Victoria Semper Post, victory ever after. And in order to do this, right, we wanted to have some fun with this. We wanted to also make sure we had other voices and people to help
Am I
us.
just like not fun enough for this?
No, you're fun enough for this, but sometimes your opinion of this is one-sided, and I have one side, and so we thought two other sides would make this a more well-rounded conversation and help us.
There you go.
So we have this, this crazy half-baked idea, and who better to ask to help us than another crazy half-baked group of people? We have our friends Dave and Brandon.
That's us.
Dave and Brandon from another Disney podcast. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Hey, the times you guys came on our show, you betcha. It's definitely nice to return the favor.
For sure. We were going to find some way to infiltrate your show. For sure.
That's true. That's
true.
No,
I was so excited when Papa came to me with this idea. I was like, can we do it with Dave and Brandon? And you're like, I don't know. I can ask. I don't know if they're gonna want to. And I was like, no. Like, please ask.
Yeah. When we first started, the first thing Mimi said was, we got to call Dave and Brandon. We got to get them on. They'll love to do this. So that's great. So yeah, the dozens of people who listen every week will be thrilled that Dave and Brandon are with us this week. All right, there we go. Maybe Dave and Brandon get some of their listeners in there, and we can maybe have
we'll send you all 50 of them.
All 50 of them. Very good. So we hope they enjoy this. So here's how this works, guys. We have 32 groups of Disney rivals, and by Disney rivals we mean like a Disney hero, so to speak, and a Disney villain person. And they're connected in some way. The
protagonist and the antagonist.
There you go. The creative writer, the protagonist and antagonist. And what we're going to do is we have a random bracket set up with 32 of them. Single elimination. And again, we're just going through one at a time. We're going to come up with who the ultimate Disney rival is. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to jump in here right now and get started. And I'm going to have to get my little bracket out because in the first round, we have Yzma and Kuzco.
Oh, dang.
Right? Yzma and Kuzco facing off against Buzz Lightyear and Zurg.
Oh man.
So Dave, you want to get started? Maybe give us your opinions on those sets of rivals and what are you thinking?
Yeah. Okay. So this is challenging for me. I feel like I have my 5 minutes to convince the jury that this is correct. Okay. I am one of those few that The Emperor's New Groove is hands down a top 5 Disney animated film of mine. I absolutely love it. I love the character development. The comedy in it is incredible. The way the characters play off of each other is it's phenomenal. And it's a great heartwarming story where I don't think it's one of the few where somebody's parents don't die. I mean, so that's a win right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but when you talk about Buzz and Zurg, I mean, they have such a strong foothold in the hearts and minds of people when it comes to Disney Pixar. So, I love Yzma, and the way that Kuzco messes with her is just absolutely brilliant. But I have a feeling it's going to be a difficult time convincing you that is worth saving over Buzz and Zurg. Now, Zurg doesn't feel that big a part of the story, but Buzz, I mean, our daughter, her second birthday was a Buzz birthday. So I know what I'm up against, but I love the comedy between Yzma and Kuzco that to me just sets it apart, where Buzz and Zurg just literally feel like hero enemy, and there's not a lot of story or backbone to it, but they're such a huge part of the Disney Pixar universe. How could they be gone? So I know I'm up against it. So those are my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because Dave and I do a podcast together, but I'm 100% with Dave. Like, I love the polar opposites kind of that Kuzco and one is heartless and vile and just malicious, and the other one's like comical and hilarious and was born into this power, and didn't really want it. So I love the comedic element in the Emperor's New Groove. And that Buzz and Zurg, I mean, aside from Buzz Lightyear's Ranger spin at Disney World. I mean, he's not really a huge part of the, he's got to have a antagonist to go up against, but I mean, come on, he's not even really in the second movie. So like he doesn't go further. So I'm with Dave. I'm going to say Emperor's New Groove all the way.
Unexpected win. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
We have we have 2 votes for Yzma and Kuzco.
Okay, so my thoughts on Buzz and Zurg are Buzz is kind of the backbone of that group, of that pairing. I feel like they, like, Buzz is the one that is carrying that one, and they're not equals. I think Yzma and Kuzco are equals, and they work really well together, and I think their dynamic on screen is hilarious. Taking out any like removing the popularity of the films from any kind of real impact, I think Yzma and Kuzco are better than Buzz and Zurg, because Zurg is just not prominent, just not a character. Buzz is the character, right? It's not Zurg. But like in Emperor's New Groove, like the characters are Kuzco and they are Yzma, and they it's them. They're a pair.
So who are you voting for?
I'm going Emperor's New Groove.
I was waiting for her to say, I'm going Buzz and Zurg.
I'm 100% Buzz and Zurg.
So I would not have been surprised. So, all right, there's 3 votes there. My vote doesn't really matter because Yzma and Kuzco are going to move on to the next round. But I would say this. I originally was leaning towards Buzz and Zurg because toys. You know, there's no Yzma and Kuzco toys. Buzz and Zurg, they got park
rides.
Right, you got rides, you got toys. But you know more, I can think about it, you know, there's nothing really evil about Zurg, and you know, if not, you know, I think the Toy Story movies would have stood up anyway, even without that pairing. And yeah, without Yzma, there is no movie, and she's pretty evil to begin with. So I'll go with that too. So we'll have 4 votes for Yzma and Kuzco. They move on to the next round. So there we go. Congratulations.
Right. This seems like this is going to be pretty easy.
Yeah, this one's gonna be this round.
Yeah, right.
First set of rounds, we have to wait and see. So the next pairing. So here, this one may be a little bit more challenging. So the next group that we have to debate is going to be Maleficent and Prince Philip pairing off against Cruella and the Baroness.
Okay, no, I'm going first.
All right.
So I hate Prince Philip, and I think
and his perfect hair.
I don't think Prince Philip,
magic shield and magic sword.
I don't think Prince Philip is the protagonist that antis Maleficent. I think it would be Aurora, because like Maleficent is outwardly cruel towards Aurora, not towards Prince Philip. Prince Philip is just the defendant. Does that give him any kind of credit? No, but like I feel like Cruella and the Baroness have an actual relationship and are intertwined, and there's like a reason for that kind of friction. Also, I just generally think the Baroness is worse than Maleficent. Like I just think she's eviler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like she like murdered bunch of like hundreds of people with dogs, and like I just think she's like a horrible human being. And like Maleficent sucks, but she's also a witch.
Yep.
So I mean, she has an automatic advantage.
So what I hear you saying is you're going with Cruella and Baroness.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to echo that position exactly. The story of 101 Dalmatians. I mean, that is true protagonist antagonist. It is the reason that Cruella becomes Cruella, the reason that she is so vile. And I think that when you're looking at an antagonist, like that's what you want. You want to see something bad happen to that person. You want to feel anger towards that person. And I don't think, like Mimi said in the Maleficent Prince Philip one, like I don't feel any angst between them. You know, like you said, it's more directed at other people, directed at Aurora. So I got to go with Cruella and the Baroness, because that's just that she's created by another person.
Well, you got it's 2 for Cruella and Baroness. Dave, what you got?
Well, they've said all the really cool and impressive things, so I'm just gonna say Cruella and the Baroness. But I think it's more for like there are like I don't know if she's in the top 5, but she's probably in the 10, like top 10. When you watch that, like how can you not hate her? Like she is awful. And so now what's interesting though is the new film that came out like gives you a whole different kind of perspective and look and feel about that character, but when you stick to the OG character, you're just like, she's awful. And I think the Maleficent Prince Philip is again back to that old school. It's kind of the old school simple story, good versus evil. There's not a lot of depth there, like we've all said. It's all about like pointed at Aurora, and he's just like, I'm gonna come save the day, and which is great. I mean, those stories count, they matter, but yeah, when you talk about like a character, like you can't think of like Disney animated films of bad people and not immediately think, oh gosh, Cruella, she's awful. Yeah. Witch or not, she's awful.
Yeah.
Well, I think Cruella and Baroness are going to move on with a clean sweep here as well. Essentially, the whole movie, Cruella, is all about their rivalry, and it was really entertaining and good stuff, and has really shaped that character in a way that no one thought that character was ever going to be like. And I agree that good versus evil, or evil versus more evil, then I'll take evil versus more evil. Much more entertaining.
I have one more comment.
Right. In
Cruella, we are like handed this sort of like Cruella is a pretty evil character, even with her backstory movie. And so like you said, evil and more evil, but like in Maleficent, in the film, gives her this sort of like loving, like motherly energy, I guess. Like they manipulated you into liking her better in the
Yes, that is true.
In the Maleficent movie. And it's like, okay, well that takes away most of what makes her horrible from Sleeping Beauty, because it's like now she's like a person.
Yeah, but that stuff ain't gonna help you in this tournament, baby. So you out. You are out.
Peace and chicken grease.
Peace. See you later. All right. So the next set, we got a lot to get through in this first round. It'll get faster as we get through, but we got to get through this first set.
Okay, go.
So first round, we got King Candy with Ralph and Vanellope. I put both of them in there, facing off against Chick Hicks and Lightning McQueen. Dave, why don't you get us started on this one?
Okay, so this is interesting. I would say that these two, I hope people don't start throwing tomatoes, but I would say these two films don't carry the same popularity and weight, at least right now in today's economy, that they either did in the past or compared to other films. I mean, I have a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old. The 6-year-old's the boy. They have never. They won't sit and watch Cars. They're like, nope, boring. And now I loved it when it came out. I think they did a couple too many, but again, here come the tomatoes. I like that rivalry, but here's my, I'll try to be brief because then we have a lot to get through. My problem with it is I think it's a created, as being a unashamed NASCAR fan, it's like they created this from real life people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it was kind of like, okay, how do we give this great young talent a bad guy? And it just kind of felt like easy. It's okay, we'll give him the Dale Earnhardt character because Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, and okay, cool. So like, if you really love racing, or if you're into that, like, you're like, oh wow, what a cool. But to me, I'm like, I would have loved to have seen an original character be born in that first movie that was just, that you wanted to hate, where the character was created out of, like, was either loved or like really revered or hated. Yep. And then the other one, oh gosh, my mind went blank. The other two are
King Candy and
King. Okay. I loved this film. I thought this was underrated. Man, I don't know. They both kind of stack up to each other as far as like if it was there, it's there, great. If it wasn't there, would you miss it? Right? Is that fair to say about each film?
Well, like, it wasn't there in the second Wreck-It Ralph movie.
Right.
There was no antagonist in the second Wreck-It Ralph movie.
There was no Chick Hicks after the first.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I'm going to go just on, like, I'm going to go against it's going to probably sound like I'm going against what I was saying. I would say the Cars rivalry sticks and the other one goes.
All right.
Just out of popularity for some reason.
Okay.
There you go. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of things that Dave said. I mean, both of these, I struggled with this one because both of these movies, I'm like, there's a lot of Disney films that, like, if they were on TV and I scrolled by them, I would stop and watch. And this one kind of, either one of these, I'd be like, whatever. I've seen it. But I think I'm going to go with King Candy and Ralph and Vanellope, just because I feel like Chick Hicks and Lightning McQueen are very much the same character. They're very much after the same thing. They very much have the same passion. The only thing that separates them is that Lightning McQueen learns that it's cool to help out people at the end, and the other guy doesn't. So
I just want to win.
It's not I don't feel like they're very deep characters. Like Dave said, I think that they like you have to have a guy to go against. So for that reason, I'm going with Wreck-It Ralph.
That's a good point.
Mimi, what do you think?
I think this comes down to, originally I thought it came down to what Dave was saying about popularity, and I was like very much like Chick Hicks, Lightning McQueen, just because they're just more popular. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But like the more I'm thinking about it, I enjoyed watching King Candy and Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph. I liked watching that more than I took any enjoyment out of watching Chick Hicks and Lightning McQueen. Probably because they are the same character, and also Chick Hicks is just like annoying. And so I'm gonna have to go with King Candy and Vanellope because I just the mystery of this movie, and like watching it for the first time, and like when they go into like the code and they find all the secrets and they're like locked in, the memories are locked, like that was really interesting to me. And then he was like one of the bugs, like that was so cool. Like
Yeah.
Okay, Troy, it's up to you, so we can have a rock paper scissors.
We're gonna have a tie. We're gonna win. I'm actually gonna go with King Candy and Ralph and Vanellope. So
yes.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I just think Lightning McQueen's biggest rivalry, you could say he was. I mean, Chicks was a rival,
right?
Was himself, right? He had to fight himself, and once he overcame that, but they had to give him somebody to race against in the show. So, but I'm gonna go with King Candy. I thought that character was interesting. King Candy. Yeah. All right, next set. This ought to be, this might be an interesting conversation. We'll see what happens here. So we have Prince John and the Sheriff. I've kind of lumped them together against Robin Hood. And the other set that we're considering is Screen Slaver and Elastigirl. Mimi, do you want to start this one?
I love Elastigirl, and I loved Incredibles 2. And as much as I love Robin Hood, as much as my like granola girl hippie, like I'm gonna live in the mountains, like self like loves Robin Hood, Elastigirl. Yep, that's it.
So you're taking Screenslaver over Prince John and Sheriff and Robin Hood. Okay, good. Yeah. So we got a vote for Screenslaver and Elastigirl. Brandon.
Yeah, I struggled with this one, and I always struggle with the Robin Hood concept in general, because everybody thinks of Robin Hood as like this awesome do-gooder guy, and I actually think that Robin Hood is the bad guy in most of these movies. Like he doesn't, I mean, like any other time, if you take Robin Hood out of the story and you're like, I'm gonna rob from people and give it to other people,
the rich,
like
and give to the poor.
That's not a fun story.
That's something you want to teach your children.
That's not something you want to teach your kids. And so I usually think that Robin Hood's the villain, and Prince John and the Sheriff are trying to protect their kingdom. So that's my feeling about Robin Hood. But I think I want to advance Screenslaver, one, because I love the movie, and two, because it's an awesome name. I'm going with Screenslaver.
Oh boy.
Dave.
Is this me?
Me too.
Gosh, I love the Robin Hood. I love that movie. Dang it. The music is good. Little John Robin Hood walking. Dang, do I bite? Screenslaver is just not a memorable, like, who could he beat? Besides what he was doing in that scenario. Like, that's my problem with it. Like, he's not threatening outside of like technology, but I guess everything is threatening through technology now. I feel like it's such a cross, like not a cross, but it's like unbelievable. Like it almost feels like hundreds of years ago versus of like hundreds of years in the future, right? They couldn't be further different in like their time periods when they're represented. I don't know why I'm dragging this out. Like I love Elastigirl. They win. I'm just not even gonna try. It's like I just wanted to be different, and I do really love that movie, but it's kind of gotten lost. Like when you think of classics, again, that's not one that's like, but it's one like, I love that movie. It's like a sentimental, not like, let's watch that one. So yeah,
it should be though.
Right. Well, I'm going to show.
It's a great movie.
It won't matter. I'm going to show Prince John, Sheriff, and Robin Hood some love. That's my choice. I just think I enjoyed Incredibles 2, but it's not as memorable to me. And I don't know, just something about the sheriff stealing the gold out of the dog's cast and I think they have to make the sheriff and the prince even more villainous to make the robber feel more virtuous.
I mean, I will say, I think Robin Hood and Prince John are funnier than Elastigirl and Screenslaver.
Yes. Yeah,
For sure.
I think I think they're more fun. Stop it.
Sucking my thumb.
That's weird. Stop it.
All right. All right.
I have questions.
All right, we're moving.
That's weird.
All right, the next set. Shan Yu and Mulan, or Edgar Berlioz, or Edgar Balthazar, and the kittens, Marie, Berlioz, and Toulouse.
This is the weirdest mashup.
I love it.
That is a weird mashup.
That's why we have Dave and
I think I'm going to be a minority again. I have a feeling.
All right, so Mimi, do you want to start this one? What do you got? Shan Yu and Milan, or Edgar and the kittens from Aristocats?
Okay, I'm gonna say Edgar and the kittens. Mostly because they're just kittens. Like, I don't have very many positive things to say about them besides the fact that they're kittens, but like, I do have the negative things for Mulan and Shan Yu. So here's the thing. Shan Yu is the antagonist against the Chinese army, not against Mulan directly. Mulan's antagonist is society, is the patriarchy.
Okay.
Yep.
Victoria Silverpost.
There is no direct friction between the two of them.
Fair enough.
Whereas the kittens and Edgar, cat and mouse.
That is an extremely mature and logical choice. Very good.
Yeah.
That is logical. Very good.
All right. Dave.
Also, they're cats.
Dave, what do you think? We're going to you.
Okay, that surprised me because I thought that I would be in the minority. I'm going to pick that. First reason is zero thought going into the film whatsoever. My daughter's first love was that film, and she still has the Marie, but she took that Marie everywhere. So emotionally, like, I'm just tied to the film. But also, Edgar was just a jerk. Like, first of all, you're the butler. Like, who are you? You're the butler. You're not even the rich one.
But she was leaving everything to the cats, though. She was leaving everything to the cats.
But you really thought they were going to leave it to you? So yeah, for that reason alone. But yeah, such a cute little film. Mimi nailed it. So
you're going with Edgar.
Yeah, 100%.
Edgar and the cats.
And they're funny.
Yeah.
Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm rowing with the rest of the ship here. I'm gonna have to go with the Edgar and the cats. I mean, although Edgar is a bumbling moron, I mean, everything he tries to do does not work. I mean, all you have to do is get rid of cats. I mean, put them in a bag and put them in the river. That's what I mean. Like,
this is the kind of movie. To me, this is the kind of movie they should redo live action.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
We know.
Because I want to see,
Did you not see the CG
I want
cat?
Kramer as Edgar. I want to get the guy who played Kramer as Edgar, bumbling around, right?
The CG cat and Beauty and the Beast, I think, should just prove that we don't need it.
We're going to cut to the chase. I don't like Mulan's not one of my movies that I really care that much about, so I'm going with Edgar also. So Edgar and the cats, moving on. Very good.
Did we mention it also has cats?
Yes.
I don't know if we covered that. Okay.
One of the things that is very much showing in this episode is in English we're talking about like argumentative essays and how to like argue what you may or may not agree with, and so like that's what I'm doing.
I love it.
Like arguing the underdog.
You are using your education, and that makes us proud.
Yep.
I'm so glad. I'm very happy.
I can't tell you anything else that's going on.
She uses
English is the only class I pay attention to.
She uses it all the
time.
time.
Chemistry.
When this is over, she's going to be like, did I take a test or was that a Disney podcast?
Well, they asked about that. So these next pairings are maybe a little challenging. This may be one of the more challenging ones to do.
This one is so hard.
Right, yeah, this one I really struggled with.
We have Gaston with Belle and Beast going up against Dr. Facilier and Tiana.
It's not even a fight.
So why don't we start with Brandon on this one?
Well, like I said, this one was a super struggle for me because both of them are great pairings. Both of them are great protagonist, antagonist. I love Princess and the Frog. I love Tiana. I mean, her songs are featured in both nighttime spectaculars at Walt Disney World. They're retheming a ride after her. It's just a great story. But then on the other hand, my wedding to my wonderful wife, she walked down the aisle to Beauty and the Beast. So for those emotional reasons, that put that over the top. I'm going to have to go with Gaston and Belle.
Very nice. Very nice. Dave, what are you thinking on this one?
Okay, first of all, another supremely underrated film, The Princess and the Frog. It is phenomenal. The music is incredible. The characters are incredible. Even the character development, even though it's a simple, familiar story, how you get to know both of them, as well as all the characters that you fall in love with along the way. I just watch that film. Find an appreciation for that film if you're listening. It's phenomenal. That being said, I don't know if I should give away my cards this early, but the other pairing, which I don't even need to name, I think they should win the whole thing. So I'm going to go with them.
Going strong with Gaston.
Revealing the cards pretty early. Yeah, you cannot think of good versus evil in Disney and that not come into your brain. Like, that is one of them that is going to pop up. The story, the music, the fact that it's like a star-crossed lover, right? I mean, he loves her, or loves the idea of her. I don't know what's more true. Yeah, I mean, so it's like a whole different spin. And the other one's like, and I'm sure he's like, but it's an animal. Like, I'm a man and that's an animal. I'm sure that had to have crossed his mind. Anyway, yeah.
Beauty and the Beast. Look at all those eggs I ate. Look at that. Look what I've done for you. So,
and Gaston is a great theme song. No one. Okay.
I agree. Mimi, what do you got on this one?
Okay, I'm going to start off my first point, like reorder what I was saying. Gaston is a great theme song. It's not better than Friends on the Other Side. It's just simply not. It's just simply not. And I think Dr. Facilier is my favorite Disney villain.
Nice.
Like, do I think he and Tiana could win the tournament? Like, no. But, like, I think he is one of my favorite Disney villains because he has absolutely no reason to be doing what he's doing except for the fact that he's bored. Like, he gains nothing from being, like, evil. Like, he gains nothing. Whereas Gaston has a goal. He's doing this for his personal gain, and he's trying to like win Belle, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Princess and the Frog is just I just think I like Tiana and Dr. Facilier better than Belle and Gaston. But also, that being said, Gaston and Belle are also more personally connected. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I keep making that point, but it's like what I think is the strongest point that I have, because like Gaston and Belle like personally interact, personally don't like each other. Tiana got roped into this with Naveen. She didn't ask to be involved with Dr. Facilier. He's not seeking her out. That she just happened to get stuck in this. And so for that, Gaston and Belle.
Right. So Gaston and Belle are going to move on because they got 3 votes. I was going to vote for them also, even though it was real close. I think Facilier, his character didn't change that much as a result of their rivalry, and Tiana's just changed because she had to go through, being a frog. So.
Oh, are they making a Gaston show or a movie, or did I dream that?
Yeah, I think Disney Plus is working on.
I think Disney Plus is making a Gaston prequel, maybe.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't dream that.
So there you go.
Stop. The next one is really hard too.
All right. So next set, and you can start this one, Mimi. All right.
Okay.
We have the Queen of Hearts and Alice going up against Jafar and Aladdin.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay, Queen of Hearts and Alice, I think, generally more iconic than Jafar and Aladdin. I think they have a bigger impact on culture. Like Paint the Roses Red. Like the Queen of Hearts is referenced among. It's everywhere. It's all over pop culture. But like I think when you really words, okay. Queen of Hearts is everywhere, but when you see her, you're like, oh, that's the Queen of Hearts, and then your mind just kind of like wanders, and then you get to Painting the Roses Red and Croquet and Alice and the Rabbit Hole, and it makes this thing, right? But Jafar and Aladdin, I feel, are also just more personally like they're just beefing. You know what I mean? Like Jafar like just doesn't like Aladdin, thinks Aladdin's a fraud, which he is, but that's a different conversation. Jafar is like has a goal, has a plan on how to attain that goal, and has a really interesting way of going about it and a really annoying sidekick. So as much as I want to say Queen of Hearts and Alice, like as much as I genuinely from the bottom of my heart want to say them because I like them better, I'm gonna say Jafar and Aladdin.
So we have a vote for Jafar and Aladdin. This is a tough one. Dave, what do you think?
Like now I feel wrong. Like I feel like I should change.
There's no wrong answer.
No, the other one was wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
For me, it's like, okay, so I have Troy gave us some great notes before I looked through the list. I read his notes, and a few of these, and this is one of them, was decided by this bullet point that Troy said. When we're looking to move for characters to move on, something you should consider is the ability of the rivalry to last/remain an influential part of Disney magic. So, okay, so to be brief, when I think of Alice, it just felt like 60s drug trip. Like that whole film was just kind of out there, which I think is what makes it so wild and so great. It's so unique. It stands on its own all by itself. But then when I look at Aladdin, so you've got Aladdin and Jafar, and then I think when I compare the two, I would say Alice in Wonderland's way up here, and Aladdin is like a little further down the thing. But when I think about like Disney magic, like Aladdin is everywhere. It's your classic rags to riches love story. I grew up with that movie, and that was also in that Renaissance period when Disney animation was making a huge comeback after those kind of blunders through the 70s and 80s. And again, another incredible album of amazing songs and music that are just catchy, that gotta keep one jump ahead of the bread line. And for that was the deciding factor to me, because I love how unique Alice in Wonderland was. But it was like, to me, that's old Disney, and then this is new Disney. And I think there's enough old Disney that helps prop up old Disney that if that one fell off, it would be okay. That was the weirdest explanation I've ever had in my life.
No, it makes
So you're going with Jafar and Aladdin.
Jafar and Aladdin. Troy's like, you could have just said Aladdin.
and also Aladdin has the genie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like Dave said, I kind of looked at your bullet points on this one too, just because it was so close. But the last two bullet points kind of are what decided this for me. It's how important is this rivalry connected to character development? So when you look at Alice in Wonderland, like the Queen of Hearts is like that to everyone. Like it's not just an Alice thing. Like she wants to chop everyone's heads off. She wants to rule the kingdom, with an iron fist. So that part of it kind of pushed it towards Jafar and Aladdin. And then the second part was like, I don't feel emotionally connected to the Queen of Hearts and Alice. I feel much more connected to Jafar and Aladdin. Like Jafar makes you dislike him immensely. Yeah. And like I said earlier, like that's huge part.
He messes with her dad. That's awful.
I mean, like I said before, it's just, when you're looking at protagonist, antagonist, like you want to feel something strongly for one of the two characters. And in this case, like Aladdin kind of lucks his way into a lot. Like it's not a huge, strong reaction of like, yeah, he's awesome, he did some great things. But the Jafar and the anger and the hatred you feel towards him, it pushed it to Jafar and Aladdin on this one.
Absolutely. I'm there too, Jafar and Aladdin. So we haven't had any ties yet. We've all been in agreement. I think we're going to get there. We'll get there. Maybe I get there pretty soon. I'm not sure. So moving on. Next set. We got, again, one that I put on the list. Mimi was not a fan. Ratcliffe and Pocahontas, or Sid and Woody. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I think Ratcliffe and Pocahontas are historical figures and should be like handled as such. And I don't think that this movie handled exactly what happened between the colonists and the natives well at all. And I just don't think personal tension between the two of them was shown, but there was personal tension between Sid and Woody, and that's kind of all I'm going to say.
So you're going to go with Sid and Woody?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pocahontas is a sore subject in our house. So Sid and Woody is Mimi's choice. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, this one, again, it was a struggle, but for a different reason. Like, I didn't feel a strong way about either one of them. Like Mimi said, one is a historical inaccuracy, and the other one is a kid who didn't know he was being bad, essentially. He learned his ways, and once he figured out he could hurt his toys, then he vowed to change his ways. So I'm going to go with Sid and Woody on this one.
All right. Dave?
Yeah, Sid and Woody, just for the impact that it had. It, I don't know, hopefully helps kids not grow up to be like Edgar and want to hurt kittens. Kittens in this case are the toys.
You see, I'm going to go with Sid and Woody also. I felt bad because I felt like any kid who ever took a toy out of the packaging and actually played with it at some point pulled a Sid with something
sure.
they owned, right? And so you're like, but that kid went way overboard. So yeah.
I also think he's really fun to meet at villains thingy thing.
Yeah, over in Disney, California Adventure, right?
Yep.
All right, so we'll go with Sid and Woody in this round. Good, that one's quick. Excellent. So next one, this one's gonna be interesting. Captain Hook and Peter Pan, or Randall Boggs and Mike and Sully. So we got the Monsters Inc. rivalry versus the Peter Pan rivalry. Brandon, why don't you get us started on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go, right off the bat, Captain Hook and Peter Pan. I think that one wins over Randall and Mike and Sully. I see that more, the Randall, Mike, and Sully's not really like a true like good versus evil. It's more of a jealousy thing. It's more of a thing where you don't feel a tremendous connection to Randall. I don't think it's like a true Disney rivalry. It's like a hey, I'm not one of the cool kids, so I'm going to act out and be mean. But I think Captain Hook and Peter Pan, now that's a true Disney rivalry. So I'm going to go with Captain Hook.
Cool. Dave, what do you got?
Here we go. Finally, some differences. I'm going to go with Mike and Sully and Randall, and mostly because I wouldn't have chosen that except for when the monsters went to college. And then you find out that Randall wasn't that way, but because of what happened, so you got the backstory and even more character development. And I was going to try to stand firm, but I didn't. Okay. I do understand Hook's why he was frustrated. I mean, he lost his hand, right? That kind of stuff. And he wanted to fly. But the second one was not realistic. I mean, I know none of it is realistic, but we're all talking about animated characters. But yeah, I love that. I love that old movie, but yeah, I don't know. I just loved there was something about Monsters Inc. that felt so unique and so different. And I just connected to it more. And then when I got to see, I'm like, oh, so that's why this guy is so angry, or this monster is so angry.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So we got one for Randall and Mike and Sully and one for Hook and Pan. Mimi.
It's funny to me that your reasoning for picking Mike and Sully was because Randall's whole demeanor got explained because some kids were rude to him in college, but not Captain Hook after his arm got literally beaten
off by other kids.
Very
yes.
kids that haven't showered and don't understand anything. That's just funny to me. Hook, Peter Pan, I just think they're more iconic than Randall, Mike, and Sully. I think they are a classic good versus evil. Yep, that's it. I had more to my thought, but I forgot it.
Yeah, Randall, what would Curly say in Three Stooges? I'm a victim of circumstance, right? So he's a victim of circumstance.
Yep.
Listen, I like both of these sets. I think I'm going to have to go with Hook and Pan just because there is no tension. There's no tension without Captain Hook. He's the only antagonist that Pan has.
Yeah.
And I think Mike and Sully maybe have other people they have to worry about as they move through life. So we'll go with Hook and Pan on that one. But
you guys are right. I just wanted to be different.
No, I like that you're different. I like that you're different. So here's a good one. And Mimi was like, "Do you really want to put this one on there?" And I said, "Yeah, I kind of do." So I did. We have Pete and Mickey Mouse going up against Chef Skinner and Remy from Ratatouille.
Oh, can I go first?
Yes, absolutely.
I think I'm gonna have to say Pete and Mickey because I think the Skimmer Remy rivalry thing is like stupid. Like if I was a chef and there was a rat in my kitchen, like I would be pretty angry too. Okay, like I would want to like kill it.
A rat that can cook? I mean, come on.
No. Yeah. Like a rat, like that's it. Like I don't care. Like if I'm a head chef at an expensive restaurant where people come and they spend lots of money and it's in freaking Paris and there's a rat in my kitchen for absolutely any reason, no, like none of that. Like I would have the same reaction that
this isn't
Skinner
Chipotle.
had.
I mean, this is the fancy.
It's Persian cuisine.
That's right.
Like we are given this story through the rat's point of view, but like if you look at it as normal people, right. It's like, yeah, I mean that's valid.
So you're going Pete and Mickey.
Pete and Mickey.
All right, Brandon, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mimi. I watched Ratatouille and I rode the ride and it's cute, but it's a ridiculous story. It's a ridiculous story. It's one of the most ridiculous, I think, of Disney, but it's entertaining. It's cute. I like it other than its ridiculousness. But Pete and Mickey, like, to me, like that's like quintessential Disney. Like if you see a Mickey short or something like that, there's always like, I always liken it to the Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Yes.
Like, so that's why I like it. And that's I'm going to pick Pete and Mickey.
Cool. Dave, who do you have?
Pete and Mickey, because Skinner should have been worried about making better food.
So true.
Just be better. Yeah, it was a weird, like for that to be the bet. Like, I mean, Mimi nailed it. It was like nobody would. I don't want a rat in my kitchen, and I'm not a chef, so it's not like hard to see why they would be so frustrated. And to be honest with you, he's right. Like, who wants a rat in the kitchen? You're serving food at a 5-star restaurant. Yeah.
Fair enough. Pete and Mickey are going to move on.
Were you going to say?
I'm going to vote. I was voting for Skinner and Remy.
How does it feel wrong?
We had
How does it feel to be totally and completely
How does it feel to be wrong? It feels like from dusk till dawn, baby. That's me from dusk till dawn. But listen, I had Ratatouille for dinner tonight, believe it or not. I really did. It was good. Your mom bakes good. So I'm going with Skinner and Remy because
there's no rat in our kitchen. That's why it's good.
Right, it's in the food.
I'm going with them. Pete sometimes is Mickey's friend, sometimes he's his rival. You know, Mickey's character doesn't change a whole lot because of his rivalry with Pete. He's Mickey all the time. I think Remy and Skinner change. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Those are good points. But look, Pete and Mickey are going to move on. I'm going to respect the vote, but I am going to be the contrarian this time, Dave, and I'm going to say my vote would have been it actually is for Chef Skinner and Remy the rat. All right, next.
Love it.
You can just say that you won.
No. The integrity matters because this is, the Disney Assemble Spook-tacular tournament of Disney rivals. Victoria Super Post. All right. So the next set. This is a fun set, I think. Mad Madam Mim and Merlin going up against Lady Tremaine and Cinderella.
You go first this time.
You want me to go first this time?
Yes.
I haven't gone first yet.
Yeah.
All right. This is what I think. I think that on a pure entertainment basis, Mad Madam Mim and Merlin by far are a much more entertaining rivalry than Lady Tremaine and Cinderella, because Cinderella essentially just took it.
Yeah.
Right. And she just took it. Right. But she wins at the end out of sheer luck and the fact that, the prince was blind and apparently didn't realize he was dancing with the only blonde in the entire town. So I think Here's what I'm gonna vote for, because I don't think the Lady Tremaine and Cinderella thing. I guess I'm gonna go with Lady Tremaine and Cinderella. That's what I'm gonna do. I think Mad Madam M and Merlin were the more entertaining rivalry. I wish I could see more of that. Actually, I'm gonna change my mind. I'm going Madam M and Merlin because I want to see more of that rivalry in another show. I don't need to see more Lady Tremaine and Cinderella. I already know what happened there. So I'm gonna go with Madam M, Merlin. That's my pick. All right, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say I completely disagree with you, but then you did the old switcheroo, so now I completely agree with you. Yeah, I agree. Going back to like we've seen this before, even kind of like the Queen of Hearts, like she's not nice. She's not nice to Cinderella, but she's not nice to her other children either. Mm-hmm. Like it's not a Cinderella thing. It's not a unique relationship when it comes to Disney. Madam M and Merlin, they have equal power essentially. It's just how they choose to use it. So I think that dynamic is much better. I agree with you. I'd love to see more of that dynamic. I'd love to see them face off more. So I agree.
Yeah. And the way they talk to each other, they knew of each other. There's a history there.
Yep.
There's a history there that we don't know about. Dave, what do you think?
The way I'm not even going to talk about the other two. The way those characters are sometimes portrayed in The Sword and the Stone means to me they both that needs a remake or a spinoff of just them two, and it should just be titled "We're All Mad Here," because those two, that lady was wacky. And yeah, I love, for all the points you said, I agree, but I just love how there's depth to the story that we don't get to hear about, which is, and all joking aside, which would be great to see a spin-off film to learn how they got their powers, because you don't really know, like usually it's like a wizard of blank. Like we don't really know what he's a wizard of, right? And so I just think it's like the great rivalry and a great opportunity to learn how that came to be. Like that's an even better story than The Sword and the Stone.
Very good. We have 3 from Madam M and Merlin. Do we have 4?
No, you don't.
Oh, dissension among the ranks.
I don't think anything beats the classic evil stepmother trope. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think anything gets more iconic, more cliche, more boring than that. It doesn't.
For that reason, you get my vote.
Just evil stepmother, evil stepsisters, and that's just how it's always been since the Big Bang, right? Like I agree with absolutely everything else you said about Madam M and Merlin, and like I am the first one to defend Sword in the Stone. I think it's like the best underrated Disney film of all time. I think everyone should go watch it, and like I want to know like the nuances, and I want to understand what's going on, and I want a sequel or a spinoff or something involving them. But just the evil stepmother, like nothing beats that.
Got it.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to imagine what the showrunner for WandaVision could do with a Madam M and Merlin show. That would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I just shrunk my screen down too soon, so I'm gonna pull it back up. All right.
You are at.
All right. So here we go. Next set, we have Ursula and Ariel versus Frollo and Esmeralda. Who would like to take that one first? Let's throw it out there.
I'll take this one first because it's going to be short and sweet. Dave knows me. Anybody who knows me knows Ursula and Ariel. Favorite princess, favorite movie. I'm done.
There we go. We got one for Ursula and Ariel. Dave, where are you?
I'm there, but I'm not as strong because she is my favorite princess. But the challenge is Ursula treats all of her poor unfortunate souls the same. Like there's nothing. I don't know what the draw is for this other than I don't know. I want that backstory, but yeah, right. Ariel because she is the best.
Got it. Mimi, where are you?
Yeah, I agree.
No real thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ursula. I think Frollo is probably one of the more evil.
Yeah,
I mean, Ursula's pretty darn evil, but Frollo, he's pretty creepy and evil and like a person.
Yeah.
And Ursula doesn't like what it really exists, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Ursula and Ariel as well. I think that's the more iconic and more influential rivalry. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Moving on. another one from literature. All right, some classic literature. So we have Clayton and Tarzan, or Chippendale and Donald Duck. Mimi, do you want to do this one first?
No, because I'm probably in the minority.
Okay. Dave, why don't we jump to you then?
I don't know. And now that makes me curious as to what Mimi's going to say.
Yeah, me too.
I am very much so Clayton and Tarzan. So here's why. First of all, like sentimental reasons. So I'll try to make this as brief as possible. We have adopted both of our kids, and they happen to be full siblings. But when you look at the movie Tarzan, that is such a movie of like about adoption, right? You've got this, you've got this animal who adopts a kid. Not that much different than what's the other one that they did the live remake of, The Jungle Book? That's kind of the same thing. But yeah. And so I also grew up listening to Phil Collins because of my dad. So the soundtrack to me is amazing. Yes. But, but if I stop there and go back to your notes, the hard thing is like, how do you have Disney without, at least for me, the cartoons that I grew up watching on Saturday morning, there was always some Chip and Dale and Donald Duck, like crazy, hilarious fight that poor Donald had to deal with those clowns with. So that, like, to me, lives in my childhood memories. And then you've got this other one that's more of a newer thing. And if the Tarzan movie disappeared, not that many people would probably miss it. Again, wasn't as popular as the others. Not a lot of it in the parks. I think Disneyland is the only thing that has something in the parks for it. And that was changed, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a draw for that. And it's like anybody who, I mean, in a sense, like Clayton is killing family. Like, I mean, like wants to kill like your family. Right. That's pretty dark and evil. So that's it.
So who are you going with, Clayton and Tarzan?
Clayton and Tarzan.
All right, Brandon, who do you have?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling Clayton and Tarzan as well. Like, like Dave said, when I think of Chip and Dale and Donald Duck, I don't really. I think it's more of a joking relationship rather than a true, protagonist, antagonist, good versus evil relationship. It just, as soon as I see that, I think Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. That's like the only thing that can that I can think of, and that's the only song that's in my head. But when you look at like true evil, good versus evil, I mean, Tarzan Clayton 100%. I mean, he just wants to kill everything. So I'm going to have to go with that one in this one.
Okay.
Advancing.
All right. Mimi, the world is waiting.
I was also going to say Clayton and Tarzan. And like, I thought it would be minority because Chip and Dale and Donald Duck are like, original cartoons. But when I think of Donald Duck, I don't think of him as having a antagonist or a rivalry. I don't think, like, Chip and Dale was, they were an antagonist in a handful of short films, but like Donald Duck doesn't have a set rival that like is consistent throughout all of the shorts. The way that
he gets mad at everybody.
Right, exactly. Whereas like Goofy and Mickey is different.
Right.
I also think that Clayton and Tarzan attest a lot to like the period of that piece. I don't really want to expand on that. It just kind of is.
Right.
Also, I think Clayton is. I think Tarzan as a movie like can be taken metaphorically in the sense of adoption. Like we talked about it in creative writing, which is like why I know so much about it. And it's like he is destroying family. That's what he's doing because he doesn't agree with it. And I think that is something that I think that's the worst thing someone can do.
Right. Yeah. So Clayton and Tarzan are going to move on. I was at 6s and 9s on this. I could have gone either way. I think I was probably leaning Clayton and Tarzan as well. I think Clayton is an underrated Disney villain.
Yes.
And I just think Disney has softened Donald Duck and his anger over the years. And so they're really that rivalry in those older shorts just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Right.
So he just gets angry for the sake of being angry. He doesn't really direct his anger at individuals anymore.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I understand, why they would want to do that. So Clayton and Tarzan are moving on. All right.
Yeah. And how can you be angry at a guy who wears no pants? Like you can't take him serious.
Right. Seriously. It's all the teasing he got. All right. He's the nightmare we all have. I went to school. I wake up and I'm very fast. Right?
No.
So the next set, the Evil Queen against Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or Mother Gothel and Rapunzel. Mimi, this may be a quick one for you. You want to give your answer and we'll move around the horn?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm actually gonna do the opposite of whatever you thought I was gonna say, and I'm gonna say Evil Queen Snow White because.
Whoa.
Here's why. Mother Gothel had intentions of keeping Rapunzel to keep herself young forever and ever, but she didn't try to kill her. Like, she was, like, if Rapunzel had no knowledge of the outside world, she had a pretty good life. You know what I mean? Like, I think, do I agree with that wholeheartedly? No, but like, if she had absolutely no knowledge that there was anything else outside of her tower, she was living a pretty good life.
True.
Like, Mother Gothel was not going to kill her because she needed her.
Right.
The Evil Queen tried to kill Snow White twice. Like, literally tried to stab her and then poison her.
It's true.
Yeah.
So there you go. Evil Queen, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. That's Mimi's pick. Dave, who do you have?
Mother Gothel. She kidnapped a child, held them in a tower, and for just hygiene reason, didn't cut her hair. Like, there's no way it looked as pretty as it did in the movie. But I mean, obviously we know why. We know why.
Yeah.
But when she says "I love you more," first of all, that's creepy, and we all know it's for personal gain.
Yeah.
Sure.
And but Mimi has strong points. Like, she definitely wasn't trying to kill Rapunzel.
That's true. That's true.
Like, at least Rapunzel had her life, kind of.
Well,
I think Mother Gothel's more twisted than the Evil Queen.
We'll get to my opinion in a minute on all this, but it sounds like Dave's going with Gothel and Rapunzel. We have one for each. Brandon,
you can go with your opinion. You always go last. I want you to go third.
I'll go my opinion. All right, here's my opinion. Gothel screwed the whole thing up. She's not too bright.
Nope.
One, she should have just told Rapunzel that the day that the lanterns was not her birthday. Like, if she'd have said that wasn't your birthday. This girl didn't know that wasn't her real mother. She was like, oh, okay, well, it must not be for me, right? So I wouldn't have had that. So there's that. The other thing, and I've told Mimi this before, why didn't Gothel just tell her, Rapunzel, I'm an old lady. The only thing that's keeping me young and with you, my child, because as for all Rapunzel knew, it was her mother, is right. I have to brush your hair and sing this song to keep me young and alive to be with you. Well, what child's going to say, no, stop doing that, Mom, and die. Get it over with, right? So if she'd have just been honest with the girl, or at least about half of it, if she'd have been honest about some of it, like, I need to brush your hair, and I am really your mother, which would have been a lie, and no, this isn't your birthday, that would have been a lie. But if she'd have been honest about the hair brushing thing, Rapunzel would have said, okay, yeah, brush your head, I get it, right? And I know now why you don't want me to meet anyone. Somebody may. The other thing is, what's going to happen to Rapunzel? Does she not age anymore with the hair? Or does she not get her own? At some point, she's going to look at Gothel and say, you know what, Ma, you haven't aged much, and now I'm like 25, I'm 30, I'm 38. I mean, what's the deal here, right? So at some point, it was flawed from the beginning. I'm rambling. I'm going to say this. I think I'm going to go with Gothel and Rapunzel. I just think that one is just, I don't know, the Evil Queen one with the dwarves, and that one is just like, just what you get for listening to mirrors, and I don't know. I think it's iconic.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna change my mind this time. I'm just gonna go with Gothel and Rapunzel.
Good. That is what I was hoping you would say, because this time there will be a tie, because I am going with the Evil Queen and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh!
It's iconic. It is. She does try to do bodily harm to them. So I agree with you on that one, but it's just iconic. Like, Gothel and Rapunzel, to me, it's a cute story. And again, when we're looking at evoking that emotion, like, throughout watching the whole thing, you're like, this is probably going to turn out okay, right, for the heroine of the story. But when you first watch Snow White, you're like, Snow White could die, like,
right,
one of the dwarfs could be dead dwarf, like, there could be some serious harm.
Sleepy
so
dwarf,
I'm
except he could sleep for a really, really, really long
Sleepy
time.
Dwarf would be forever Sleepy Dwarf. Like, so I'm gonna go with
so dark.
I'm gonna go with the Evil Queen, Seven Dwarfs. So
Well, I'm glad we have a tie because now we get to go to the random number generator. And this is how this will work. So let me look on the screen. All right. So on the paper. All right. So I'm going to do a random number generator. I have random numbers between 1 and 100 online. I was going to hit generate. If it's an odd number that comes up, it will be Evil Queen in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs because 7 is an odd number. If it's an even number, it'll be Gothel and Rapunzel. And so just to prove that I'm not cheating, Mimi will validate, generate.
48.
The number is 48.
Even.
So moving on is going to be Gothel and Rapunzel. And that was close. That was listen, I could have gone either way. I'm glad I went the way I did though. Because
they'll get destroyed in the next round.
We need some droid. Yeah, they get destroyed in the next round. All right, we're getting close to the end of round 1. Oh goodness. All right, Shere Khan and Mowgli versus Scar and Simba/Mufasa.
Can I go first?
You may.
The answer is Scar and Simba and Mufasa.
Well, it's not really a multiple choice. So you're going with Scar, Simba, and Mufasa.
It's just the answer, yeah.
Yes.
Mimi, I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah, the evil brother rivalry is not something you see in a lot of Disney movies. It needs to live on.
Fair enough. I wouldn't go with that. I think Shere Khan would beat Scar in a battle, but I think Scar, Simba, and Mufasa, that rivalry certainly. And if you listen to last week's episode as we're recording this, didn't we reimagine that? What if Mufasa had not died? And we came up with a whole theory about how that would have turned out.
He ends up dying anyway.
Simba would have a lot less songs.
Yeah. And our theory is that they would have gone.
That movie's runtime would be like 30 minutes.
Yeah, Mufasa would have called out.
They
would have gone to the mattresses, and they would just hell would have broken loose. Straight to DVD. All right. So the last set of. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't get yours. You said Scar too.
Oh yeah, I was really brief. I was 100%.
All right.
Great,
Scar, Simba,
great
Mufasa.
brother rivalry.
So the last set in this round, and then it will go quicker, I promise. Hades and Hercules against Syndrome and Mr. Incredible.
Is this me? Are we all?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
All right, go.
The answer is also Hades and Hercules. I think Syndrome, Mr. Incredible. The Incredibles is my second favorite Pixar film of all time. I love The Incredibles. It's probably my top 3 Disney movies of all time overall. I think it's amazing. I think Syndrome is hilarious. I think the dynamic between the two of them it makes me laugh. He's a fanboy. Just everything about it it's perfect. It's so funny. But Hades as a character is better than anything Disney has ever created ever. And I just believe in Hades over everything, and so that's it.
We have a vote for Hades and Hercules. Dave.
Yeah, the only problem with the original Incredibles is Syndrome. I get it, it's fun, I love what they did, like the classic story of I loved you and I was growing up and now and you didn't want anything to do with I get it made for a great story, but he's just a punk kid who clearly had a lot of money and technology to build whatever to beat up the guy you loved, but I thought you loved him. So yeah, it's just kind of an odd, but he was pretty funny. He was definitely funny as a kid. That was really good. Yeah, and Hades is that's classic Disney. 2
votes for Hades and Hercules. Brandon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make it 3. I mean, he's one of the greatest characters in an animated movie. The other 2, I think with Syndrome, he's just. That's again one of those things they had to invent in order for there to be an antagonist. Hades and Hercules are natural enemies, and it was fun to see that played out, and it was fun, to see how they did the characters. So Hades and Hercules.
Awesome. I'm going to make it 4 for 4, even though Syndrome is the cosplayer who was thrown out of the line at Comic-Con. He comes back to haunt your nightmares. So there you go. Hades and Hercules.
You literally stole that joke directly out of We Like Theme Parks.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because I talked about Syndrome, and you were like, he's a fanboy, it's so cute. And then they were like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, clearly you've never been to a con. And it's
I made it my own.
Yeah,
I
did
100%
his.
It was funny.
All right. Moving on, next round. So we got to go back up to the top of the list. We're going to go a little bit quicker this round because
here we go. This will be fire them off.
Yzma and Cusco
Corella, Baroness.
versus Corella and Baroness. Dave, you're up.
As much as I love the dynamic of Yzma and Kuzco, like nothing can touch Cruella and the Baroness. So they move forward.
I agree.
We had 2 for Cruella and Baroness. Brandon.
I agree. I love Kuzco. I love his humor. I love his wackiness, but we're talking straight, villains and heroes.
Yeah.
We're going Cruella and the Baroness.
Yep. I agree. We're going to make that 4 for 4. All right. We got King Candy and Ralph and Vanellope against Screenslaver and Elastigirl. Mimi, who do you have?
I don't know.
You were a big proponent of Screenslaver last time.
No, I was a big proponent of Elastigirl.
Well, she's part of that choice.
She's part of that group.
It's a package deal.
That's right.
Okay. So I'm going to draw from your little bullet points now. Let's see what you have.
That's a good idea. I'm going to cheat too.
Okay. So I'm going to go with King Candy Vanellope because of the second bullet point. How important is the rivalry connected to the character development for the hero or the villain? So
without King Candy, Ralph and Vanellope wouldn't have.
Without King Candy, Vanellope would never have become the queen of Sugar Rush.
Right.
She would not have realized her worth as a glitch and basically liberated the game.
Got it. So we have a vote for.
And she changed Ralph.
True.
It's causation. We learned about that in AP World.
Oh, well, I'm so glad.
Well, there you go.
I feel like I'm learning along with her tonight.
The teacher has become the master. All right. Dave, where are you on this one?
Oh, man. I just don't have any emotional connection at all to King Candy and Ralph and Vanellope. Mine is in the second film I liked much, much more. So I'm going to go Screenslaver and Elastigirl.
Oh, I got one of each. One of each. Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pull from bullet point number 1. I love these bullet points, like the ability of the rivalry to remain an influential part of Disney magic. Like, you don't see any magic about Elastigirl. Like, you Wreck-It Ralph's a character meet and greet, right? So it's remaining part of Disney magic. I'm going to go with Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm counting on you, Troy.
I'm unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to go with King Candy and Ralph and Vanellope also.
Yeah. Sorry, Dave.
Sorry.
Well, I just wanted the number generator.
I have to live with this one. I know I want the number generator too, but I just really didn't. I mean, I like The Incredibles a lot. I like Incredibles 2 a lot, but I just didn't connect very much with the Screenslaver as the villain.
I definitely connected more with Syndrome than I did with the Screenslaver.
I agree. I do agree with that.
If it makes you feel better, Dave, King Candy and Vanellope are not beating Cruella and the Baroness. So.
This is fair.
Yeah, their reign of terror on our bracket is almost over.
That's right.
So all right, the next set, Edgar and the Kittens, which is kind of like, that'd be kind of cool, like a high school band. So Edgar and the Kittens versus Gaston and Belle and Beast.
Oh, that's what we're calling our next show, Dave. Edgar and the Kittens. It's just gonna.
You don't have to ask me. I've already picked them as the winner.
So Dave's already picked Gaston, Belle and Beast. So we know that's one vote. Brandon, where are you?
I'm Gaston, Belle and Beast. That's 2.
2. Mimi?
I mean, their impact on everything is just deeper than Edgar and the Kittens.
There you go. Drink that sleepy milk and go to bed, Edgar and the Kittens. We're moving on with Gaston and Belle and the Beast.
Drink that sleepy milk.
Drink that sleepy milk. He poured that good stuff in there.
Can that be our episode title?
Drink that sleepy milk?
Yes.
I think whoever's listening at this point has already fallen asleep. So, all right. So we are the sleepy milk of podcasts. So the next set, we're getting off the rails. The rails.
Can I put that in Instagram bio?
We're the sleepy milk of podcasts. That's definitely going on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
All right. Jafar and Aladdin. Or Sid and Woody.
Jafar and Aladdin.
Right, we have a Jafar and Aladdin vote already, right out the box.
Jafar and Aladdin.
There we go. Jafar and Aladdin. Sid and Woody. Go have a seat. All right. Next, we have Hook and Pan or Pete and Mickey. Hook and Pan or Pete and Mickey. This may be more interesting of a matchup than maybe on the surface it appears.
Okay, well, I have deeper thoughts about this. Based on what you shared, Troy, about Pete and Mickey, I thought you had some great points that if I'd have heard first may have flipped my vote.
I agree.
So Pete and Mickey need to go back to their next episode of being friends because they're not moving forward.
We got to vote for Hook and Pan. Brandon?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hook and Pan too. I just think that is one of the quintessential good versus evil Disney stories. So Hook and Pan.
And what a missed opportunity, right? What a missed opportunity that like the OG character doesn't have that great rivalry. Like how bizarre is that, huh?
You can make a case that Mickey and Donald are rivals, right? You
could.
So, but I don't know. I went with Pete. I don't know. Hook and Pan sounds like a really sketchy seafood restaurant. But Mimi, who do you have for this one?
I have Hook and Pan.
All right, Hook and Pan. Moving on.
Hook and Pan.
She's like, I'm not saying anything but the answer.
That's right. That's right. We have a special long time no swim. All right, we have Mad Madam Mim and Merlin.
Hang on, wait a second. You killed Brandon.
What?
Oh,
I killed Brandon?
Oh goodness.
Long time no swim.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was so
there was
good.
when we lived in Virginia, there was a seafood restaurant up there.
First of all,
the Blue Mountain seafood. Or I was like, why would you eat seafood in the middle of the mountains? There ain't a sea anywhere hundreds of miles. That's
a long drive.
That is, and look, it wasn't like Red Lobster. I mean, it wasn't like it was getting shipped in there on dry ice.
That's right.
All right,
Mad
Madam Mim and Merlin, Mad Madam Mim and Merlin, or Ursula and Ariel. This one might be tough too. Mimi, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Okay, I'm gonna say Mad Madam Mim and Merlin because they have their personal reasons for not liking each other that we just don't know about, and they make that very clear. Like there's definitely like context to this story that we don't have.
Right.
Whereas Ursula and Ariel, Brennan's been making this point all night. Ursula is mean to everyone. Like there's nothing special about Ariel that separates them. That separates their rivalry from anyone else's. Whereas Mad Madam Mim and Merlin have that. So that's my bid.
True. Right. Brandon, who do you have?
Yeah, and it pains me to do this, but I am going to have to eliminate Ursula and Ariel in this case because we're talking about the rivalry. We're talking about true antagonist, protagonist. So I want to hear more of that story. Mad Madam Mim, Merlin.
All right.
Okay, who will the winner of this be up against?
Hook and Pan.
Yeah, Hook and Pan.
Then
you could take Ariel and
then I'll vote Ariel.
Ursula.
She's not going to win
because they won't
win in the next round.
They're in the sea, so it would go with the seafood restaurant.
That's right. So you're going with Ursula and Ariel.
Yeah, I just can't go against my girl.
So look, I'm going to go with Madam Mim and Merlin. And part of the reason also is, and I thought about, and I may have heard this too on that same podcast we listened to earlier. Ursula turned into that beautiful other character, right? She could have done that at any point.
Yeah. Why don't you just do that?
You could have been that person to begin with, and you could have done whatever you wanted up there on land, but it just didn't make any sense. You shouldn't have, whatever. Maybe I could see if she had turned in like Flotsam or Jetsam into that.
Right.
But she turned herself into that. What's the motivation here, right? So, all right, Mad Madam Mim and Merlin, we'll move on. And all right, so now next set we have Clayton and Tarzan, depending on where you come. Tarzan. Or Clayton. And what does that say? Gothel and Rapunzel. Gothel and Rapunzel, or Clayton and Tarzan. Brandon, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I think I do. Again, I'm going to go back to the cuteness of the story with Rapunzel. I'm going to go back to, at no time did I feel that Rapunzel's life was in danger. When watching Tarzan, I felt everyone's life was in danger. So I'm going to go with Clayton and Tarzan.
Fair enough. Dave.
Yeah, as Troy said, he is an underrated, awful, fake person. Clayton and Tarzan. Move forward.
Mimi?
Clayton and Tarzan.
All right, we'll go. I would still vote for Gothel and Rapunzel just because I just like that dynamic. But
Okay,
Clayton and
that's
Tarzan,
done.
I like Tarzan. I underrated. I like Tarzan a lot.
Now that this is settled, I'm gonna reveal my cards. I said Clayton and Tarzan because I think Hook and Pan can beat them, and I think Hook and Pan could win the whole thing.
Well, you're being strategic. A little strategy. All right.
Strategery.
A little strategy. A little strategy. All right.
Strategy.
We got Scar and Simba and Mufasa going up against Hades and Hercules. Mimi, you had some strong opinions before.
On Hades and Hercules.
Yes, we do. But how does it compare to your feelings of Scar and Simba and Mufasa?
I think Hades is just. I think he's perfect. I think he's the perfect villain. I'm definitely going against what I actually believe here and like letting my emotional aspect like take over this argument, but I just Hades.
You're going with Hades and Hercules. All right, we have one vote for Hades and Hercules. Dave.
I'm not going to let my emotions get the best of me, and I'm going to go against what I would choose. Hades is just strong. Like, how does it go? Bigger, badder, faster, stronger. He just is so that's why I'm going with that.
We got 2 for Hades and Hercules. Brandon.
For totally opposite reasons.
I'm going to swim against the current here because I'm looking at the bullet points again. The ability of the rivalry to be an influential part of Disney magic, Kite Tales. And how important is the rivalry to character development?
Does Kite Tales count as Disney magic?
Yes.
I think it would be like anti-magic. You know what I mean?
Hey, we were there.
Like,
I loved it.
It counts as magic until they have to stop.
And
then emotional impact. Yeah, emotional impact. So all 3 bullet points for me: Scar, Mufasa, Simba.
Listen, when you are born and your parents name one of your siblings the African word for the king, and the other Scar. It's like when you name your kid grows up, you have a child that's born, and you name him Jeeves. He's gonna be a butler. You've already determined what he's gonna do for a living. You name one Scar, you name one the king. I guess you take a wild guess who's gonna end up on. I'm going with Scar on this. I'm going with you, Brandon. We're gonna have
yes,
because I agree with you. I'm not a huge Lion King fan, but the whole story is predicated.
No, let's back up. What?
I don't like Lion King all that much. I'm not a big fan of Lion King.
How does it feel to be wrong again?
I didn't say it was a bad movie. I'm just saying I'm not a huge fan of it. It's a movie that I don't mind not watching, right?
You said the same thing about Black Panther. We lost all our listeners because of it.
No, we didn't lose all our listeners.
Stop saying your
that guy listened again the following week. So stop saying that. We didn't lose our listener. So we have to go to the generator. We have the number generator here. So the odd number this time is going to be Scar and Simba. The even number will be Hades.
The odds are in our odd favor.
All right, and number is 33.
Odd baby.
Scar and Simba.
Odd baby.
Moving on.
Go on back down, Hades.
You must be prepared to lose. All right.
I mean, emotionally, I wanted to pick them, but I just thought Hades was stronger.
It's that was a tough one for me. It was a tough one because I like Hades and Hercules, but
semifinals.
Semifinals. Is this the semifinals, quarterfinals, semifinals? Closer to the finals. We have Cruella and Baroness against King Candy and Ralph and Vanellope.
So we decided about 20 minutes ago that Cruella and King Candy and Vanellope were not beating Cruella and the Baroness. We decided this when we picked King Candy.
I'm being time shamed on my own podcast.
So I think we might as well just quietly write their names and just move.
Well, wait a minute. You're assuming that no one's changed their minds.
No. Okay. Do any of you actually think King Candy and Vanellope are better than
Don't put mouths. Don't put ideas in their heads. Don't
antagonize me.
Don't antagonize me.
Counselor,
don't
you're leading
antagonize.
Do not lead the witness.
Mimi, I got something I want to say to you. You are 100% correct.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I mean, I'm going to go against the grain and not pick the one that's not Cruella.
You can't remember all those names?
I can't remember all those
names.
Ralph,
so you're not picking King Candy and Vanellope and Ralph.
Picking King Candy and Vanellope and Ralph.
Cruella would walk
Ralph
by.
Was way better.
Cruella would walk by and pull the plug right out of the wall, and that would be the end of them.
No, Cruella would just like step on King Candy. You know what I mean? Just like squish it.
Yeah.
She'd look at it, she'd throw the candy out. All right.
It just doesn't have a foothold enough in Disney lore to.
I hear you. No, I agree with you. Cruella and Baroness, definitely. We haven't talked much about Baroness, but
I know.
what a character. I'd like to see more of that character. She's not dead.
Yeah.
She's not dead. She's only in jail.
Right.
She
They
could
can
be
make a
back.
sequel.
That's right.
Well, they are making a sequel. She may be in. All right, next set. Gaston and Belle and Beast.
No, don't do the accent.
Gaston.
No.
Gaston.
Gaston. Gaston, Belle and Beast versus Jafar and Aladdin, a big 90s revival rivalry. All right, Mimi, do you have some thoughts on this?
Yes, I do.
And they are?
So this is the Disney Rivals Tournament. And for it to be a rivalry, you have to equally dislike each other, right?
I suppose that's one way of looking at it.
Gaston does not dislike Belle, but
Right.
Belle dislikes Gaston.
Correct.
And that's how you get star-crossed lovers, kind of ish. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you get like enemies to lovers trope. But for a rivalry, Aladdin and Jafar equally dislike each other and want to see the other one fall. And so for that, I have to say Jafar and Aladdin.
That's an interesting
okay.
point.
Okay.
Interesting point. All right,
All right.
Brandon, we're going to move over to you.
Yes. And I would agree with you, Mimi, if it were not for one small detail. It's not just Belle and Gaston. It's Belle and Beast as one against Gaston. So there is the true rivalry. So I'm going with Belle and Beast.
Oh, so there we go. We got one of each. Dave.
Okay, you guys know where I have stood.
I
this
know where
entire
you've
time.
stood. We just
But I
making
have
sure.
some feedback for what Brandon just said. Well, Brandon, your counterpoint to Mimi's point and my double counterpoint is he held her hostage against her will. And she still chose him.
Look, you didn't
So now
say
she's
that.
been her mind is all messed up.
You didn't say that. You didn't chastise Troy when Mother Gothel held Rapunzel against her will. Now, did you?
You're right. Belle and Beast.
So we have 2 votes for Belle and Beast and 1 vote for Jafar and Aladdin. So it comes
Here we
down
go.
to me.
Come
All right.
on.
So listen.
Come on, Troy.
We
Random number
also
generator.
did a what if on this story too, didn't we? And our what if we did a what if on
if
this.
Belle married Gaston.
If
yeah.
Belle had married Gaston, what would have happened? And what we ended up with was Belle would have ended up killing the Beast to save her husband at the end of the movie. So I think I'm gonna have to say Jafar and Aladdin. We're gonna have to go with the number generator.
Yeah, number generator.
Yeah, number.
Now my fate hangs
Sorry.
on
Random numbers.
I'm sorry.
on,
I'm
man.
sorry. So the odd number will be Gaston and Belle and Beast, and the even number will be Jafar and Aladdin.
Dave's like
I can't
hunched
look.
over.
He's sweating.
I'm gonna hold
He's
it up.
so nervous.
I'm gonna hold it up to the camera so you can see. So I'm not cheating. And does it say? What does it say?
69.
9, which means Gaston, Belle, and Beast move on to the next round.
I can't breathe.
Who would have thought?
Oh,
Number
goodness.
generator is like the devil's workshop. All right. So what are we? You're bouncing. I guess. So who's the next ones?
Hook and Pan and Madame Mim and Merlin.
Hook and Pan.
Hook and Pan.
Hook and Pan.
Hook and
Madame
Pan.
Mim and
Hook
Merlin.
and pan. Hook and pan.
Hook and Pan. All right, we'll go with Hook and Pan. All right, go on. I'll have the shrimp, please. All right. Clayton and Tarzan, who they just keep moving on. They just
I don't know why
they
they've
just
been
keep moving
around
on.
for
They had
so
a good
long.
draw. They had a good draw. They're like that. They're like
good
that.
spot in
They're
the
like that. They're like that basketball team from one of the lower conferences that
That's
just makes
right.
its way through the
The mid majors.
right,
Busted
right,
through
the
to the Sweet
mid-majors.
16.
That's right. That's right.
And Scar and Simba.
And Scar and Simba and Mufasa. So I don't know who wants to go first on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna continue the fight for what Troy said. So, like, I blame this on the parents. You cannot name him, do the naming structure like you said, like King of the Jungle and Healed Wound.
Right.
They might as well have called him Healed Wound.
And Scab. So, they could have called him Scab.
And you know what happened? They called him Scar, and then they realized, well, wait a minute. He doesn't have a scar. And the dad was like, when no one was looking, just scratched him right across the face when he was little, right? Yeah. Like a botched circumcision. They just
so that leads me to the question, was that really his fault? Like, is he wrong to feel the way that he does? Should he have killed a sibling? No. But that's beside the point.
It's a victim of circumstance.
I agree.
I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to bet against. That's such a great rivalry.
No, we're not doing a random generator unless we have a tie. So
no, I'm sticking to my guns. Clayton and Tarzan. Let's go.
Clayton and Tarzan. All right.
I'm thinking, just hearing you say that, like did his parents really name him Scar? Like, or was his name like Justin? Like,
I know you got to figure it's probably his nickname.
Like, did he get a scar like him and Simba were playing, or him and Mufasa were playing when they were young, and he cut his face, and then they're like, oh, now you're gonna be Scar. Like his name could have been Ken. Like, who knows? But I'm sticking with him. Simba and Scar.
I think his name was like Bradley or something, and then like they're playing the little lion schoolyard, and then some one jerk is like, hey, you've got a scar you can't control in your face, let's go calling you that, and it's just like how it is from that on.
It becomes a tale of bullying, really.
Right.
And so Brandon, I didn't hear who you voted for.
I'm gonna go Scar and Simba and
all right, one
of each. So I'm gonna say, this Scar thing is funny. Robin Hood Men in Tights. Oh, what's your name? Latrine. That's an interesting name. Well, we changed it. It used to be Outhouse, right? So it's like, oh, your name is Scar. What did it used to be? I don't know. Healed Wound. So used to be Splinter, right? But so I do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I think you should go.
I'm going to go with Scar and Simba and Mufasa. I just think it's the more influential, the more it's very the emotional response to that rivalry is really strong. So I think it just outdoes. I like Tarzan a lot, but I'm going to go with the Scar.
Most
and Simba.
Disney fans would be like, "Wait, who was Clayton?"
Isn't that a Batman villain? No, that's Clayton. Right. Who do you got, Mimi?
I have Clayton and Tarzan.
Oh, yes!
Oh, we're going to go to the number generator.
You did that just so that you could take out Scar.
He's way worse.
Through a curve. All right, so the odd number is Clayton. Clayton and Tarzan are the odd number. Scar, Simba, Mufasa is the even number, and the number is
71.
71.
Dude.
The lion will sleep tonight.
The dream lives on.
Right. Drinking.
Keep your gun loaded, Clayton. Keep it loaded.
Oh, my pick to win it all is gone.
Lions a cup of your special milk. It's time for them to go to bed. All right.
Oh, my pick is gone.
At this point, no. I think they're just like, why is Clayton and Tarzan like?
This is the point they should be starting to listen to the show, so that they should just skip ahead to this point.
This is like when Norfolk State wins the NCAA championship.
Right, we are down. That's right. So there you go, Gonzaga. They keep fighting, right, or whatever, or whoever. So we got 4 left. Semifinal battle. The first. Well, let's just name the 4. Right, it's Cruella and Baroness, Gaston, Belle and Beast, Hook and Pan, Clayton and Tarzan. Tarzan.
I'm smelling a Belle and Pan final.
So here we go. We got Cruella and Baroness against Gaston, Belle and Beast.
All right. I'm not going first.
We know
we know where you're going, Dave. So I mean, what happens if all 4 of us pick all 4 different ones?
That's not possible.
No. It's just round of 2. You're picking between Baroness and.
Let's go. I gotta go Belle and Beast. I gotta go Belle, Beast, Gaston.
Oh, so we have 2 for Gaston, Belle, and Beast.
This is classic.
Teenager.
It's super hard. I really wanted to do Cruella.
Cruella's not on a float at Disney World. I'm just saying.
That's true.
At the Villains Parade, she is.
She doesn't have a restaurant.
Well, neither does Gaston. I mean, he does, but it's not connected. The 2 are not connected because of their rivalry.
Yeah.
I think.
Who do you have?
I have Cruella and Baroness.
Yeah, I knew she would like that.
Because I don't think anything is more toxic and more raw than a rivalry between family members. I don't think there's anything more something that has more impact on a person than having like little to no relationship with your mother. And I just think that this relationship is just so awful, and that's it. It's so broken. Whereas also it is the basis of their story. It's the basis of their film. And they rely on each other to grow as characters. Like, they need that rivalry so that Cruella can come out on top and Baroness can, like, try to one-up her. Whereas Gaston and Belle and Beast, their rivalry is not what makes that film what it is. The two are not connected. The rivalry is there, but it's a side plot, and it's only really there at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie.
True.
It's not necessary. And so
you're going with Cruella and Baroness. All right. So we're either going to go to the number generator or Gaston, Belle, and Beast are moving on. We're going to go to the number generator.
Oh, no. I don't have faith. This is the second time they've had to go to the number generator.
The Baroness is going to go down as one of the most evil characters.
200%.
I mean, she got rid of the kid. She didn't want the kid. The woman that she gave the kid to, she ends up killing. Then she tries to kill her kid, and there's a lot of stuff there. And then, so we gotta go to the numbers. So the odd number will be Cruella and Baroness. The even number will be Gaston, Belle, and Beast.
It's time, Brandon. It's been a while since there's been an
even
number.
The number is
I know.
54. Beast, Gaston, and Belle move on.
Oh,
it was a tough battle. They won in overtime.
Tough battle.
They went to overtime. Penalty.
They survived They survived double overtime.
They did. The stars are aligning for them. All right, Hook and Pan. Hook and Pan versus Clayton and Tarzan.
This is where I gotta bail on Tarzan.
Yeah.
This is Hook and Pan.
Yeah, Tarzan. Clayton and Tarzan have run their proverbial race of their lives, and they're done now.
Yes, he has run out of vines to swing on, and it is Hook and Pan.
Clayton's out of bullets.
Clayton is out of bullets.
He's trying to jump to the next vine. He just like misses and like falls flat on the ground.
Slow motion.
Mm-hmm. Like slow motion, but it's got the goofy yell in the back.
Yeah. There it is.
That would have been great.
Oh,
all right.
Man.
So here we are. We're in the finals. We have come a long way. Gentlemen, first of all, before we get to the final discussion and crown the winner, I want to thank you again for joining us. This has been probably the longest episode we've put out. But we do appreciate your patience. This has been a fantastic conversation.
So fun.
Thank you very much. And so, we're going to get to this last bit of business to crown the winner of, where's the title of it? Here it is. The 2021 Disney Assembled Spook-tacular Tournament of Disney Rivals. Who will be crowned the champion? Victoria Semper Post to the victor. So
I'm going first.
So we have Gaston, Belle, and Beast versus Captain Hook and Peter Pan. Mimi, the floor is yours.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the bullets and go from there.
Go for it.
First bullet says the ability of the rivalry to last or remain an influential part of Disney magic. Hook and Pan have a ride together. Hook and Pan interact in the parks. They are also on a float, Dave, and they're part of shows. And I just think that they're very present in the parks together, whereas Gaston, Belle, and Beast don't have that same interaction in the parks as much as I think Pan and Hook do. Okay, second bullet point. How important is the rivalry connected to the character development, the hero or the villain? So, kind of like what I said with something else, Hook and Pan need each other. It's a push and pull. It's a cat and mouse. They are what makes each other's lives interesting. And so it's not like a love-hate relationship, but it is. Like, they need each other. Like you know how in the Lego Batman movie, the Joker's like, you don't care about me? And Lego Batman's like, no, I don't. And then Lego Joker gets really upset because he's like, I thought we like had this like little buddies thing going on. And Batman's like, no. You know what I'm talking about? And so like that's kind of what happens here, I think, with Captain Hook and Peter Pan. Also, Hook wouldn't be where he is if Pan hadn't like thrown his arm into the ocean, into the crocodile, right? Like the entire course of his life and the entire course of his character changed because of that pivotal moment in his life. Right?
Is it true though?
Yes.
Maybe he was just mean before, but he had 2 hands.
That's not what the book says.
Okay, all right.
He had another one in case one broke down. It did.
And then the last part is the emotional impact. Does this rivalry evoke strong emotions? Yes, it does.
What emotion?
I just get really happy when I think about Pan and Hook. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be Pan or Hook for Halloween. I considered it was on my list. They just make me really happy. The dynamic between them is funny. It's entertaining. It's classic. It is I think, Disney original good versus evil.
All right. So we have one vote.
That's my pitch.
One vote for Hook and Pan. Very, very well thought out argument on Mimi's end. Very good. All right. Gentlemen, who would like to go next? Dave, you want to take this one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just sticking with the one that I said was going to be the winner. I don't know that they have much of a prayer, but I'm going with, I mean, here's the thing. In today's culture, with where we're at now, I said earlier, he loved Belle. Did he, or did he love the idea of her? Right. Okay. And so when you look at how all of the girls throughout the town swooned over him every time he shows up. Now, obviously he didn't have eyes for them, but once he won the prize, would his eyes have still been so focused on Belle, or would he turned into the womanizer that he clearly appears to be? And who wants that in today's culture? So he is the evilest of them all and deserved to fall off the Beast Castle. So I'm sticking to that in my #MeToo culture.
Very good. Very good. So we have one vote for each. Brandon, where do you land on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I am going to obviously have the emotional attachment to Beauty and the Beast, Belle, the Beast, Gaston, but I'm going to have to agree with your wife. She's going to be so mad when she listens to this, but I am going to have to go with Pan and Hook. I mean, like we talked about, it's an emotional attachment. If you go to Walt Disney World, if you go to Disneyland, there is a ride for these, and it is the longest line at the parks. There's an emotional attachment for people and Peter Pan and Captain Hook. It is a classic story. Everybody gleans something from it. People see themselves as Pan. People see themselves as Hook. Some people see themselves as the crocodile. So there's something in there for everybody. It's a classic tale. I'm going to have to crown the winner of this whole thing, Pan and Hook.
So we have 2 votes for Pan and Hook, and we have a vote for Belle, Beast, and Gaston. So it comes down to me. The winner will either be decided by the random number generator.
No, please don't.
Please don't.
We can't survive 3 rounds.
or by my choice. So I'm going to go bullet point. The ability of the rivalry to last or remain an influential part of Disney magic. For this one, when I look at the 2 different rivalries, I think Hook and Pan get the edge for me just because their rivalry and the way it influences part of Disney magic has lasted longer. I mean, the movie's older and hasn't faded very much at all over time. I know Belle and Beast and Beauty and Beast, they can't help that because the movie didn't come out until the 90s, but it's lasted. So I'm going to give the sticking factor to Hook and Pan. How important is a rivalry connected to character development? This is where I kind of lean towards Belle and Beast because and Gaston, because Hook's character doesn't change much because of the rivalry with Pan, in my opinion. Pan certainly doesn't change much at all because the whole premise of his character is that he doesn't change, right? That he's perpetually this little boy. So I think certainly, I don't know if Gaston changes. He really doesn't change. He's a jerk all the way to the very end. But certainly the Beast's character changes in that moment with he's changed up to that point, but that last battle with Gaston and that rival, because they're only rivals at the very end of the movie, right? Because up to that point, they didn't even know each other existed.
Right.
Yeah. So that part there. And I don't think Belle's character changed a whole lot as a result of Gaston, other than the fact she just disliked him even more when he decided to attack the castle. So I'm on both sides there. So it really comes down to emotional impact. Which rivalry evokes the strongest emotions for you in watching the story? So as I watch both of those films, there is a childlike joy that I get from Peter Pan and watching that movie, because it's just fun, right? It's just fun. And certainly I have an emotional response to riding that attraction with Mimi, because that's just something personal that we have when we ride that attraction together. And watching, Belle and Beast have to deal with Gaston was also very emotional. Have a very emotional response to that. I was like, yeah, get him, because he's like Dave, like you said, he's such an awful person with very few redeeming qualities that are not superficial, right? I agree with you. If Belle had married him, it would have just been another trophy. He was just out for trophies, right?
Yeah.
He's just been out for trophies. So I do think that there is certainly a piece of that, being a father of a little girl, that I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad he got his comeuppance. Yes. He deserves that, right? But I'm going to have to go with Hook and Pan.
Heck yeah.
I'm not going to rely on the number generator for this one. It was really close. I'm sorry, Dave.
Hey, it's okay.
No, it was actually hard.
We made it to the finals, so that
we made it to the finals. It was really close, but I think we're going to have to go with Hook and Pan. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still listening to the show,
if you have made it,
congratulations. Make sure you're hydrating throughout the episode, so make sure you're getting plenty of fluids. But this year's winner of the 2021 Disney Assembled Spook-tacular Tournament of Disney Rivals is Captain Hook and Peter Pan. Congratulations, Hook, Pan. High fives all around. Yeah. Congratulations.
Heck yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
This was great.
I appreciate you spending the time with us tonight. We certainly be happy.
This hour and 42 minutes.
That's it. But what is time in the grand sense?
It's all relative.
It's all relative.
Break it up over a couple of days of your commute.
Right, that hour and 40 minutes is much more valuable to those of us closer in age to the end than you. So
it's only gonna get worse.
So there you go.
Hawkeye,
which is Brandon. Brandon's the old one.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Brandon. So there we go. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
That was an honor.
Appreciate your time.
Super fun.
And, yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime. Except I'll plan something a little less.
Well, here's what we can do. Like, I mean, I know I'm throwing this out super quick, but last year for March Madness, we did like an online tournament and somebody won. Troy, I think you played in that online tournament.
I may have.
For March Madness. I believe you did. I think we should return the favor, Brandon, and do something like this for March Madness with them on our show. I think that would be super fun. It'd be a whole lot easier than putting together that tournament than I had to put together last year. That was challenging.
We would love to do that. We would love to do that. So, guys, before we leave, please plug your show. Tell everybody where they can listen to your awesome podcast. It's fantastic. You got to check out Another Disney Podcast. But, guys, tell everybody where they can find you.
Brandon, tell them.
Yes, you can find us on all your social media sites: Facebook, Another Disney Podcast; Instagram, Another Disney Podcast; Twitter is Another Diz Podcast. You can go to our website, anotherdisneypodcast.com, and of course, you can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts: Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all the good spots. Check us out.
All of them. Yeah.